Let's have a pickle in the chat.
But before we have a pickle in a chat, let me just let you know about our Blackout Card Family Edition sale. 25% off, free worldwide shipping. Links are somewhere down below. Go and check them out. Anyway, on with the show. Last week we did a podcast and we talked about a house that we fell in love with in Portugal.
There's red flags. The estate agent is the biggest red flag.
I had a surveyor go around there. The realtor was like, yeah, this is very unorthodox in Portugal. You don't normally get surveyors. And I was like, okay, extra red flags have just gone up for you, mister. Oh Christ. This is called a hot mama pickle, by the way. There's no like sell-by date on it. That's the problem. It's been in my cupboard for over a year. It doesn't smell great. Oh, the most disgusting thing I've ever put in my mouth. The surveyor sent me a bunch of videos where he went around the house, and I don't know if I'm reading between the lines here, but I think there might be a problem with cracking.
Cracking. Lots of micro cracking. Cracking. Seems to be a common phenomenon at this house, cracking around the windows.
He gave me a full report, and apparently, if we wanted to buy this house, we would need to spend between, get this, 50 and 100,000 euros just to modernise it, because it's got lots of
Cracking.
So I went back to the estate agent / realtor and I said, listen mate, there's a lot of problems with this house that we didn't notice when we went to see it. We're adjusting our offer from 375 to 350. And he basically said, forget about it. So we are giving up on that one, which is a shame because it was the only one that every single one of us, kids, us, everyone fell in love with. But now we're thinking of somewhere a little bit different. We're thinking of Madeira.
Madeira means island of wood, and first settlers set fire to its dense forests to clear the ground. But the fire spread and the island blazed for 7 years.
Madeira is an island inhabited by around about 250,000 people, still owned by Portugal, but right out in the middle of the Atlantic.
The hammock may seem an outdated link with the colonial past, yet in this setting a free swinging ride through the palm groves is an added luxury that's hardly incongruous.
We've never actually been to Madeira, but the reason why I think I find it so attractive is because for me, I've kind of read up about it and I've seen videos of it. People have messaged me who have either been away there or live there currently. And for me, it just ticks a lot of my boxes in terms of schools, location, activities. There's lots of hiking there. It's very green and very beautiful.
It's called the eternal spring, so it's always in the perfect temperatures, which is like the early 20s.
I feel like in England I have to do all these different hacks and routines and things to get me to a normal, happy place, whereas when I am in sunshine or not in freezing cold grey, I just am already in that place. I just wake up in that place.
And what better way to celebrate than with a few bottles of Madeira and the gaiety and music of fiesta folk dancing.
We might go out there in a few weeks and look at a couple of properties which we have sort of fallen in love with. But what we've realised is that in our months and months of house searching in Portugal is that when you see a property and you fall in love with it, you probably won't like it when you go and see it. A bit like, I guess, would it be like if you were dating? Like you can see somebody and be like, oh, I fancy them. And then you meet them and you're like, oh God, they're a dick. It's a bit like that.
And the hikes out there look insane. I feel like that is a hobby that I would really want to get into. I love doing my 5K walks around the city, and I feel like that would just be a huge level up because the scenery out there just looks absolutely incredible. It doesn't look real. It just ticks a lot of the boxes. So I think hopefully we'll go and check it out. We've already seen a couple of houses there online that we really like. One in particular that I really like that's tiny, but very, very girl aesthetic. I think the boys would just move in and completely wreck it. as boys tend to do.
Unfortunately, we're not going to get out to Portugal as quickly as we wanted to. The buyer of this house is basically been delayed by the buyer of their house. There's quite a bit of a chain going on.
The question I get asked about the most when I have been talking about moving over to Portugal is schools and what am I going to do for the kids' schooling. So my plan, first of all, is to, in the interim of when we are actually moving and settling in, I want to have an online school set up for them. I don't think it would be like a long-term thing, but we would maybe have like a month or two where we're settling in and we're all kind of at home together, and maybe we're waiting for places to come up at whatever schools are nearby. It's just a way of sort of like homeschooling, but without me having to be the teacher, because obviously I still need to work and I'm not a teacher. I just don't think I can take it on. I don't want the weight of that responsibility. So it's just like a nice way of them being at home and us all finding our feet together. Also with Grayson being assessed recently for neurodiversity, the lady who did his assessment said that she actually thinks that it's a good idea to do an alternative type of schooling like that with him, because he would find it easier to focus and it would be less stressful on his body in terms of like being distracted by his surroundings and not being able to concentrate with noises and stuff. So it's good to know that there is like a professional that's like, actually, yeah, that's a really good idea. So I think we'll just see how that goes. If they like it, I am sort of open to the idea of it being more of a long-term thing. And I think because they'll be going to clubs and, you know, like surf schools and jiu-jitsus and stuff, I'm not worried about them making friends. They make friends wherever they go. So if they do enjoy it and it's working for us as a family, potentially we might just stick with that. Or otherwise we have the options of an international school or a Portuguese school. Portuguese school is quite attractive to me just because I want them to learn the language, and I feel like if we're planning on being out there for a few years at least, that they will get such a massive head start from being submerged in a Portuguese school. Basically, there are lots of different avenues and we are just gonna see which ones our children are happiest in.
Next Sunday, I'm off to get another hair transplant. I don't know if you can see it here, but it's sort of thinning out a little bit here. I had it done about 5 years ago, and it's one of the best decisions I ever made. I'm so happy I did it. The problem is I can't shave it off because I've got a weird shaped head. Look at it, it's all odd. I feel really bad for like Prince William. He's obviously bald. He's the same age as me, completely bald on the top, and he's got that side bit going on. He's obviously been told to keep it because the optics of having a future king with like kind of a skinhead wouldn't look good. So he has to have that kind of thing. I reckon they think it makes him look a bit more regal. I bet he wants to shave it off so bad, but he's not allowed to. It's so annoying that we have these optics of things like this where it's like, oh no, you can't shave that off because then you'll look like a skinhead and that's not a good look for the monarchy. It's like, oh, just shave it off. Sorry if there's any people who love the monarchy, but I just think they're for normies. I just think they're a normie thing. Waving their flags like, oh look, it's Prince William. Look over there, Prince William. Who cares? It's just a human being with a weird haircut. You know, I just don't get it.
One thing I really want to do over the next few months, like the cozy months, is bring back my little book club that I was doing on Patreon. I think we only did it for like 3 or 4 months. I kind of lost a bit of steam with it because on the last couple there weren't very many people that came, so I just didn't think people were enjoying it. I wanted to bring the book club back, and my thoughts were potentially just doing 1 book a month because I feel like that's quite manageable. Yeah, I just thought I would let you know, and we will pop a link to Patreon down below.
Yeah, I got back from a portrait mode shoot. I went to shoot a retreat called Dental Growth Retreat. It's a retreat for dentists because apparently dentists have a really high rate of burnout and like just exhaustion, and they want to quit after like a couple of years of working in dentistry because it's really high pressured. This guy called Simon, who's a cosmetic dentist, he has created this thing called a Dental Growth Retreat, and he invites dentists down, teaches them all about the kind of the mindful things that you need to do in order to mitigate burnout and and stress. So breath work and nutrition and all that kind of stuff, the holistic approach to kind of feeling good and not burning out. It was really good. I really enjoyed doing it. I've decided not to take on any more projects now. Like, I'm gonna just focus on portrait mode, which is this video production stuff that I do, blackout cards, which are conversational prompt cards. You should get some. 25% off. Glow State, which is Hannah's sort of supplement company, and also YouTube. This, my favorite thing to do, but probably the least profitable thing, but I love it and I can't quit it. And then that's kind of it. The problem is when you have crazy ADHD is that you're just constantly chasing butterflies. Like I'll come like the other day, Hannah was talking to us about potentially homeschooling the kids, and I was thinking, how cool would it be to have a holographic projection of a teacher in the room talking to your kid? That's the only problem with homeschooling, is that the kids will be looking at screens, and we want to avoid that. So I was like, well, why can't you get a holographic projection of a teacher into the room? How cool would that be if like you could then get the best teachers from around the world to project into all these kids' classrooms, all these kids' homes, sorry. And I was thinking, well, how would that work? So then I started to go down this rabbit hole of looking into like holographic projection companies and how much it would cost to get them into people's houses to be able to have this remote teacher. I was literally halfway through this research and I was like, Steph, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? And this is the problem when you have an ADHD brain. You have to constantly pull yourself back because you're just trying to sprint off in all these different directions. You can find yourself down some weird rabbit holes sometimes when you just sat down to do one simple task. You're literally researching like how many albinos were in Nazi concentration camps in 1947, and you're like, what am I doing? And you got to pull yourself back and be like, don't do this. And yeah, it's like that all day, every day. But I've decided now, stop, Steph, no more. Don't take any more. No holographic projections, nothing. Just focus on what you're doing. Focus on what you're doing. But yeah, that's what's going down in Michelac Town. Lots of plate spinning, lots of trying to like emotionally deal with this move as well is weighing quite heavily on us, not knowing when or where we're going to be in a couple of months. I wish we could romanticize it in a way and just think, oh, isn't that like so romantic that we just everything's so uncertain. But it as a pragmatic dad who wants to ensure the safety of my family, like that's my number one priority. Not knowing where my family's going to live in the next few months is quite terrifying. Anyway, I think that's about it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Remember, 25% off the Blackout Card Family Edition, which will enhance your relationship with your family through meaningful dialogue. You know what, I don't need to tell you again. We'll see you all next week, or patrons will see you on Monday. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.